Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you mid this afternoon for a episode review. And before I get to the Coheed and Cambria album review, I'm doing this Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 5 review for season 1, part 5, that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys this afternoon. And sorry that it took me a bit to do a video. I just had to go run errands, and you can see my hair is very puffy as well. It was super fucking hot outside, and I sweated out in my clothes. I was like, holy fucking shit, this summer heat. So I had to change my clothes, and then, yeah, I don't want to explain that descriptive detail, so yeah, please forgive me on saying that. But, yep, the summer heat is here. It's ridiculously hot, so it's hotter than the last summer. But I'm going to discuss what I watched for Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 1, Episode 5 for Part 5, the 5th episode for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and let you know my thoughts on this episode review. So let's dive into this episode review. Sorry that I dragged out the intro to this video. I just wanted to explain what was going on, and I had to go run some errands this morning. Or close to afternoon time and all that. But yeah, what did I think of this episode overall? I think it was a really good one. It's the second to last episode before we get to next week's final episode, which episode 6 is going to be on June 22nd. And I'm very excited for it. I hope it's a good episode. Basically, it leaves off after Leia and gets rescued by Obi-Wan and Tala as well. Tala is one of the Empire chicks or whatever that was part of the Empire but then rebelled against them. So she was a spy or whatever. And I forgot to mention that detail in episode 4. She was a spy, of course, or episode 3 or 4. Because in this episode, the character Tala dies, and so does the robot as well. So it was a pretty intense scene, and they were fighting to make sure that Vader and the third Inquisitor, or the third sister or whatever, the Inquisitor, I guess you could call her, didn't breach the walls of Javine or something like that, because this is kind of a fight for survival, rebels versus the Empire and all that. Um, the Resistance versus the Empire and all that. So this was a pretty intense episode, and I really enjoyed it. Um, Basically, Obi-Wan's still having doubts about, and still is a little weak-minded because of his apprentice turning on him 10 years ago, when Order 66 was around, and he basically is trying to move past it and find uh, solace with it or something, to the acceptance of he's not gonna ever change Anakin back to the good side. This was at the time. Of course, he's Darth Vader now in this Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And yeah, you see in the last episode that the little robot Lola has a tracker on her, so she's part of the Empire for right now. So that's how they were tracking uh, Obi-Wan and Leia and all that back to Javiv, or whatever the planet's called. And Aja was in this episode. You've seen him in quite a bit of movies and all that, like the Eternals, um, and all that. So yeah, this was a really good episode. The ending to the episode was basically uh, you find out the truth about the Third Inquisitor, also known as the third sister. I it Reva or Riva, I think is her name or something. I'm not sure. I have to look into it, but basically she tries to go against Vader towards the end of the episode, and Vader can see right through it that she's ready to attack him and all that. So he didn't fall for it. So yeah. Um basically this was a really good episode, and I'm just explaining basically what I watched with this episode. And you find out that the Grand Inquisitor, the actual guy that you thought died, is still alive, of course. And now we're gonna see what happens to the third Inquisitor, the third sister, in the final episode. If she lives or dies, I don't know for sure. We'll just wait and see. But overall, I think episode 5 for season 1 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was a really good episode. Highly recommend you check this out if you haven't watched it. And first score for me, I'm giving this episode. There were some nitpicks I had with the episode, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. Um, like there were a lot of questions answered, like who is the third Inquisitor, and she was a Padawan when Anakin was killing younglings and all that at the time. So she was a youngling. So yeah, that's how you find out her past and all that. So yeah, first score for me, I'm giving episode 5 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series a 9 out of 10. Really good episode. I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend you check this out on Disney Plus because there's only one more episode left, and by next week it's gonna be over uh, for the first season. I don't know if they're gonna make a second season or not, but we'll just wait and see. Comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series for episode 5, part 5 review, or this episode if you've seen it. And if you enjoyed this episode review I did for Obi-Wan Kenobi series for episode 5, comment below and let me know your thoughts on it. Tap a like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can. Support the channel. Like I said, I do like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi because he plays a good Obi-Wan Kenobi. Without him being in the main star of this show, it would kind of flop. Because if they added someone else as Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'd be like, no, that doesn't work. No, Ewan McGregor was the best. So I'm glad Deborah Chow chose him to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi for this series. So yeah, this was a really good show, and I can't wait to see next week's episode next Wednesday. So yeah, I'll be returning to you for the Coheed and Cambria album review for their next album review, The Ascension, The Aftermath Ascension, I think is what it's called. It's not a long album, so it's like 40 minutes or so, so it's not very long. But I'll do that, listen to that album, and then review it. And then I'll probably do a live stream today, because I was gonna clean my garage again, but the problem is it's too fucking hot. And I already went outside earlier today, and I don't want to sweat out in more of my clothes. So I'm like, nope, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Or sometime tomorrow or whatever. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this 5th episode review, this episode 5 review for Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I did the best I could to make it as good as possible. I just wanted to explain quite a bit of details on what I watched for this episode, and there are spoilers in this episode. If you have not seen this episode, do not watch this review. But stay safe, take care, and as always, I'll see you in my next review.